Oh, it's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is CarEdge Live for Monday, December 23rd, with your host, me, Ray, and, kid that got a haircut, Zach. Oh, my goodness gracious. Apparently, they weren't allowed to touch anything on the top or the front, but the sides look rather contoured, yes.
Happy Christmas Eve, everyone. Monday, December 23rd. Today's show is brought to you by CarEdge.com. Our end-of-year promotion is running strong. If we can help you out with anything, including getting dealer invoice price for free, using our car search, our free research tools, or $100 off our concierge car buying service, or 25% off CarEdge Insights, and $250 off vehicle service contracts, also known as an extended warranty. There's that. Sell your car, refinance, insurance. We got a lot going on back at CarEdge.com. But Dad.
Yes?
The big story today ain't about CarEdge. It's about NHTSA, baby. We've got updated power rankings in terms of vehicles that have the most recalls, or manufacturers that have the most recalls. And Ford, folks, has absolutely shocked the auto industry. 72 recalls, running away with the lead is Chrysler, FCA. Ford comfortably in the number 2 spot. Ford will not, for the third or fourth year in a row, win the most recalled automaker award. Instead, that will go to Stellantis or Chrysler. FCA in this case. Dad, a big break for Ford here, and it comes on the heels of just last week.
Yes,
Ford enacting or bringing into effect a new leader for their quality control. This is huge, Dad. Huge news, shocking news from Ford. Not going to win, even though they were the
odds-on favorite.
Ranking. Yeah, they were the favorites all year round.
Yeah,
not going to win this year, it seems.
I find it fascinating that the year that they give up the crown, and this would have been the 4th year in a row, that they give up the crown for most recalls is the year that they make yet another executive change when it comes to quality control and handling warranty costs. Now, one of the ways that I could think of handling warranty costs is, to decline the payment, decline the repair. That would be one way. The other way might be to build a better product so that you don't depend on.
But isn't this proof positive, Dad, that Ford's making strides? They're no longer the most recalled automaker in the United States. Again, Stellantis with Chrysler is pulling away here at the end of the year.
No, I agree with you. Apparently they're making strides, but not big enough strides so that the person in charge of that portion of it didn't get canned.
Yeah.
Okay. True. That person got replaced because, they only fell to 2nd place. Apparently Farley was hoping that they'd fall to 3rd or 4th. I don't know. It's shocking, absolutely shocking, when they have been the industry leader in recalls 3 years in a row. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were still leading as late as October or early November of this year. And then Stellantis, bless their hearts, came through with a slew of recalls in the last 6 weeks of the year to not only overtake Ford, but to just blow them out of the water. I mean, they're leading by 10 recalls. It is fascinating, to say the least.
Yeah, and Ford's expenditures on warranty work is upwards of $800 million per quarter. And are actually...
Did you say per quarter?
Yeah.
That's $3.2 billion for the year, is it not?
And they're facing a $165 million penalty for recall delays. So Ford is really feeling it when it comes to quality control issues. And again, the big news this morning is, seriously, just over the weekend, Chrysler was at 64. Chrysler, which is FCA here, but Stellantis, was at 64 recalls when we looked at this most recently, which was like Thursday or Friday of last week. And now they're at 72. So again, pulling away here when it matters most. At the end of the season, folks, that's when you make or break your year. You got to, playoff time, and Stellantis is holding back nothing when it comes to
so
wins.
Stellantis snatching victory from the jaws of defeat.
And I will mention, Dad, we are working with NHTSA to pull in all of the recall data and information like that back into the CarEdge.com car search. So stay tuned, folks. That'll be something you have back on CarEdge.com in January. But obviously, you can go to NHTSA's website and you can find this information there as well. Very excited to pull that into the car search, though.
Oh, absolutely. That'll be a great additional information that we would have for people when they utilize our website. So no, that's a wonderful thing. Right. I'm just thinking at 800 million a quarter, if they gave me 1%, I could help them. And I think I'd be overpaid. Okay. I'm just saying.
I agree, Dad. I do think that you could probably help them. And I disagree. I don't think you'd be underpaid. You're worth every penny. Evidently, who's not worth every penny? We've got more layoffs happening in the auto industry. Stellantis shelves 1,100 layoffs at Ohio Jeep plant to reassess strategy. Go ahead.
Well, what they're saying is they're not going to lay off those people.
Yep.
So these were people that were scheduled to lose their jobs on January 5th. And Stellantis is reevaluating, reassessing their needs now that Carlos Tavares is gone. And so they've asked for an extension, and they can get an extension for up to 2 months on whether or not there will be layoffs. But apparently it looks like there won't be at the moment. And well, that's good for UAW and its employees that work at that facility. And maybe it indicates that, I don't know, Stellantis is going to pay closer attention to what the hell's going on in North America, which is a big market for them.
What's happening in Europe, though, is the opposite. VW and German unions agree or reach a deal to cut only 35,000 jobs to avoid plant closures. 35,000 jobs going out the window here so you can keep plants open over in Germany. If you don't think things are bad in the auto industry right now, you got to be living under a rock. We haven't even touched on the fact that Honda is going to be acquiring Nissan and most likely Mitsubishi. So you've got consolidation of legacy automakers. That's nearly $60 billion transaction in Japan. You've got 35,000 jobs going by the wayside over in Germany. And then here in the United States, obviously, we've seen transitions at Stellantis. We've got the quality control issues we talked about today, and then reassessing strategy for those 1,100 jobs. But thousands of people have already been laid off here in the U.S. by Stellantis. So big news out of Europe. The 35,000
job cut so that they can avoid plant closures. Does that mean that at certain plants there's going to be one person that works there? I mean, when you take into account 35,000 cuts, there's going to be like 1 or 2 maintenance guys that are working there, keeping the facility from falling apart.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I suppose that for VW and their labor unions, that they were able to come to some type of agreement that, well, things are not nearly as good as what everybody had hoped they would be, and that they could all agree that in order for there to be some jobs, it's going to mean that, well, 35,000 jobs are going to have to be cut.
Yeah. Well, I want to turn our attention to that news out of Japan. But before I do, I want to let everyone know that we decided to extend our $100 off on our CarEdge Concierge car buying service. If you're sick and tired of trying to negotiate your own car deal, find the right vehicle, all that fun stuff, we've extended the $100 off. And I want to show you some examples today, Dad. We recently did this deal on a 2024 Audi Q8 e-tron on behalf of a customer. And you can see here, not only did we secure a $2,387 discount for that customer, there were also $12,850 in rebates applicable here. So that was a great job by Brian on our team. And I've got a Toyota Tacoma here, Dad. This deal was done just over the weekend. You can see a 10% discount off of MSRP here. No crap added on, $200 doc fee. Really, really, really good stuff from our concierge team. And you can see everything that we do, all the deals that we do back on caredge.com/concierge. You can see all those recent deals and the prices that we were able to secure for our customers. Although I am seeing some zeros here, so I'll have to ask the team what's going on there.
Those are just place fillers.
Evidently December 31st, 1969. Hey, Justice, I see you're here on the stream with me. Do you mind making a quick message out to the team to figure out if we can get this cleaned up pretty please? Gotta love going live, baby.
Yes, yes,
Live.
yes. You need to do a tad bit more follow up prior to the show.
Yeah, evidently.
Yes,
Evidently. All right, Dad, so we'll turn our attention to Honda Nissan, but before we do, I'm going to come here to the chat. I see Phil here.
yeah,
That's Phil.
yeah,
That's the thought that went through my head
yeah.
as well. All right, I'll let you
Yeah.
guys jump on that.
1969. That was the year I graduated high school, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is.
Yeah.
From Mark.
Thank
Fantastic to
you,
see you
Mark.
here, Mark. Thanks so much. Happy holidays, my friends from CarEdge. Another wonderful year for your team. Yeah, incredible what this group has been able to accomplish. Grown the business immensely, helped so many people. So thank you, Mark. Thank you to the team. Really, really grateful for that. We've got from Whiskey and Wine Trails. Thank you, Whiskey and Wine Trails. We appreciate it. Thanks to the CarEdge Toolkit. I was able to make a $1,700 under invoice deal for a 2025 Lexus 300H last week. A December to remember. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, way to go. Congratulations.
That's got to feel really, really good, especially when you know the dealer invoice price and you know you're beating it. That's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That does make it for a December to remember.
I've been getting a bunch of the Toyotathon ads recently, Dad. So, December to remember Toyotathon, they're certainly here. All right, let's turn our attention to that big story out of Japan. Nissan, and Honda announced merger plans to create the world's number 3 automaker. This is a nearly $60 billion deal, Dad, that seems to be on the path towards actually happening. And it seems like everything will be consolidated by 2026. What's your take on this? Like broad macro sense, and then also strategically for these two brands?
My take is that you can't just say, hey, we're going to talk about it, we're going to merge and have it happen tomorrow. The hope is that the new holding company that they're going to work under or through will be in place by August of 2026. August is the eighth month. So 20 months, it's going to take 20 months to be able to put this together. Yeah. At a certain point, both Honda and Nissan will be delisted from the Tokyo Stock Exchanges, and they will trade under whatever the new banner name is for this holding company. They're hoping for synergies.
What do you think happens to these brands for the next 2 years as they're navigating this transition? Honda is number 2 to Toyota in terms of reputation.
Yes.
You look at all the various data on market days supply, how many vehicles dealers sell. Like Honda's in great position. Nissan's at the other end of the spectrum. They've tarnished their relationship with their dealers. They have subsidized or incentivized the sale of their vehicles significantly, both to consumers and to dealers. Totally different businesses. Do you think they're going to rub off on one another? Like, will there be some osmosis there? Will Honda feel more like Nissan? Will Nissan feel more like Honda? What should us as consumers anticipate over the next 2 years as this happens?
Well, if it happens, because it's still an if, because part of the if is for it to happen, Nissan still has to get its house in order before the merger can take place. In other words, they have to figure out their financing. They have to figure out what direction they want to go. Now, where a merger like this could really help Honda is it could give them access to better pickup truck concepts.
Actual pickup truck concepts, at least here in North America.
Yes, body on frame. So it's different. It gives them some, I think, better insights into EVs, moving towards EVs. This could help Nissan with hybrids. So there are certain synergies there that should be able to come together and save both companies money. And if it plays out, obviously, the way the heads of these companies think it'll play out, it'll make them better. Now, every time somebody has taken over Chrysler Corporation, they have always thought that marriage was going to make it better, and those marriages have always ended up in a divorce because it didn't make it better. Certainly, Mercedes-Benz tried, didn't make it better. FCA tried, that was Fiat, didn't make it better. Stellantis is trying, hasn't made it better. So there's no guarantees that by these two manufacturers coming together, that it'll actually be successful. I would suggest in my lifetime, with the number of consolidations and mergers that I've seen,
Yep.
where every time there's one of these mergers, they say, well, the savings is going to be astronomical. The synergies between the two companies is really going to propel us into a new stratosphere. And the reality has been none of that.
Yeah.
So in many, many cases. So, there's a lot of hope, but I don't know that hope's a plan. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hope that this could work and this could turn into a juggernaut. The reality is 5, 6, 7 years from now, both companies will look at each other and they'll go, well, that was a tad bit disappointing.
I want to pull up on the screen, Dad. This comes from Hague Partners, and it was posted
Yes.
by Car Dealership Guy over on Twitter. New vehicles sold per month by franchise dealership.
Yes.
You can see here, it's not even close. It's a runaway.
Oh,
Toyota
has
sells
been
the
for
most new
years.
cars. Yep. Then Lexus.
Yes.
Then Honda.
Yes.
And then it's a pretty steep drop off. I mean, Honda is at 98 new vehicles, and then there's
Yes.
drop off to 86, 86. And you can see there, Nissan is at 65, which is close to the industry average, which is 60. And then you can look all the way to the far right and you see Infiniti over there at 24.
Yes.
The reason I bring this up is because it begins to, again, just quantify how disparate and different the Honda and Nissan business models are. I mean, Infiniti being all the way over there at 24 compared to, obviously, Acura is not much higher, but it's at 41. Nissan being at 65. Honda being at 98. Like, it's just it's an interesting marriage when you bring an underperformer like Nissan to the table with a high performer like Honda to compete against the highest performer in Toyota and Lexus.
Yes. And I will tell you this, way back when I started in 1977, and I was at that time, it was Datsun, not Nissan. It was before they changed their name. And even then, the dealership the dealerships of the future for a owner was Toyota, because even then they were consistently, massively per dealership outselling their Honda competitors, and definitely outselling their Nissan competitors. Because I remember, I was in Pleasantville, New Jersey, outside of Atlantic City, and there was a Toyota dealership and there was a Honda dealership, and my owner's friend owned the Honda dealership, and he used to always tell me how well the Honda dealership does in comparison to us at the Nissan dealership. Well, the people wanted Toyota's first, Honda's second, and maybe Nissan's third. So Toyota and Lexus, those have been, those dealerships are almost like, if you own one, it's like owning a printing press to make money, to print money. Honda was pretty close. BMW, another brand, because it's a luxury brand that sells really well, a printing press to print money. Nissan, pretty much a drag on your cash flow.
It'll be super interesting to see what happens over the next 20 months as those two brands come together and Honda takes a majority stake of the Nissan brand and potentially the Mitsubishi brand as well. And all the while, we see what's going on in Europe and here domestically in the United States. I would not be surprised if we see more consolidation in the near future. Today's show is brought to you by CarEdge.com. Again, our $100 off our concierge car buying service ends soon. Take advantage of that back at CarEdge.com. So proud of what we've been able to accomplish this year with our team. Thank you to the team. Dad, if we can, let's jump to our favorite segment of the show with a very important discussion today.
Really? You've got to be kidding me.
All right. Attorney General Raul and FTC announced proposed $20 million settlement with Leader Automotive Group. This just came out last week. Dad, we've got the FTC lawsuit alleging dealerships overcharged deceived customers through add-ons and junk fees. What happened here, Dad? What's the story?
Well, this is a dealership group out of Canada that operates dealerships in the United States, in Illinois. And well, they're not admitting any guilt or wrongdoing. They're just stroking a check for 20 million bucks. Because who wouldn't just stroke a check for 20 million bucks if you haven't done anything wrong? So they're charged with bait and switch advertising, always advertising vehicles at a price that you can't buy them for. They're charged with fraudulently selling cars, importing vehicles from Canada, okay, and claiming that they're still under warranty in the United States. They're not, because once you cross the border, the warranty for Canada does not apply as the warranty for the United States on these vehicles. They forced people to buy things that weren't on the cars, forced people to pay fees, ridiculous fees for the things that they claimed were on the cars. It is just an absolute mess of what they were doing to people. But even though they've done nothing wrong, they've agreed to the FTC cars regulations, and they've agreed to have their dealership monitored by the FTC for the next 15 years. But ladies and gentlemen, they did nothing wrong at all. Okay. They just stroked a check, so they didn't have to say they did anything wrong.
This comes 2 years after the record-setting $10 million case that was also brought from the state of Illinois with the FTC against Napleton Automotive Group. In that case, illegal junk fees, discriminating against Black customers, all the fun things that you would find in an FTC lawsuit. And this, again, out of the state of Illinois. And obviously, I'm using fun tongue-in-cheek here, gang. This is obviously terrible, but you can see here, working closely with the Illinois Attorney General, we are holding these dealerships accountable for unlawfully extracting millions of dollars from consumers through a textbook bait and switch scheme and bolstering their poor reputation with fake reviews, said Samuel Levine, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. Quote, "We will continue to work to ensure that consumers are not being overcharged for cars and that honest dealers do not need to compete with firms that cheat." So we went from a $10 million settlement 2 years ago to a $20 million settlement at the end of 2024. Kudos, I guess, to the Illinois State's Attorney General getting these things processed.
Well, if I lived in Illinois, I don't know that I'd buy a car there.
Illinois is the new Florida, it seems.
Oh my God! It seems as if that they specialize in dealerships there that are just openly ripping off their customers and then eventually writing checks for 10 million or 20 million to make restitution without ever admitting guilt or wrongdoing. And apparently the amount of excess fees that they're collecting from their consumers more than makes up for the fines that they're writing a check for of either 10 million or 20 million. So if you can effectively afford to pay $20 million, how much did you really make? Did you make 40 million? Would you spend 20 million to make an additional 20 million? Did you make 60 million or 80 million or 100 million? Is it at this point just a business decision to say, well, what the hell? I'll pay a $20 million fine, but I picked up an extra $100 million from these customers.
Yeah,
that pays. That maths. And it's wonderful that the state and the FTC have gotten together to fight this. Needs to happen sooner.
Definitely needs to happen sooner. And I also want to comment that the $20 million that is being paid will go, part of it will go to refund consumers. And this actually happened in the Napleton suit too. I mean, we've seen consumers, tens of thousands of them, get thousands of dollars back in their pockets. And I'm just going to scroll down here just so that everyone can see these are the dealerships that this group operates in the United States. So I'm not going to read the list, word for word, but you can see it on the screen right here. And obviously, now that they're being, with close oversight from the FTC, probably a great dealership to do business with. But contemplate, or at least in my opinion, contemplate who you're going to do business with before you do. Understand that these things are happening out there. And fortunately, there is some accountability being felt. And I love how the FTC commented how unfair this is for the dealers that actually do things right. This is so much of what we're trying to build here at CarEdge.
Yes.
Just point people towards dealers who don't play these games. Which, to be clear, this is not even games at this point. I mean, you're importing vehicles from Canada and selling them here in the United States and not communicating to customers the implications of, like, failing to disclose that the U.S. customers that they were buying cars imported from Canada. I mean, like, that's not games. That's like just expressly illegal.
That's just out and out theft. Okay, yeah. Without admitting any guilt or wrongdoing. So yeah, it's dealers like this that continue to make it bad for all the dealers. Because when customers see things like this, they just assume every dealership operates in this manner. And we know for a fact that not every dealer operates like this. There are any number of dealers who do not operate like this, but unfortunately, there are more dealers who do than dealers who don't. And that's what the real problem is. We as an organization here at CarEdge need to help convince dealers out there that ultimately it is in their best interest to be one of the good dealers as opposed to being one of the bad dealers.
Absolutely. And for your customers out there, if we can help you with anything, again, CarEdge.com. From Matthew. Good to see you, Matthew. Happy holidays. Thank you kindly. Ray, you know as well as I that the Nissan Ultima is legendary for taking more abuse from obese ramrods than a... Come on, man. You cannot have me read these things live. Honda wants a piece of that. There you go.
There you have it,
Matthew.
Yeah. Can I tell you, here's a story that I shouldn't be proud of, but I'll tell it anyway in the spirit of holiday season, that people can make mistakes and they can learn from them. As you know, we had a Golf USA franchise out in Arizona. And
did, yeah.
Yeah, and well, I went broke and bankrupt from that folly of wanting to be in the golf pro shop business. And ultimately, I went back into the car business and I needed to get another car. And I had a personal bankruptcy on my record. And I was working at a Pontiac store, Pontiac and GMC.
Okay.
No, it was single point Pontiac store. So it was just Sun Pontiac.
Okay.
And they also owned a Nissan store, and I needed to get a car. And Nissan was running a special on an Ultima lease for 2 years at like $179 a month. And it was like, my God, that's cheap. But I just came out of a bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Well, the general manager of the Nissan store talked to Nissan Motor Acceptance Corporation and convinced them that they should let me lease one. They forced me to put down 6 security deposits, so 6 times $179, because at least that way they figured, well, they'd be covered for a quarter of the 24 months.
Yeah.
And it was a stick shift Ultima. It was perfectly fine for what I needed at the time to reestablish myself car credit wise. The Ultima has been around for years and years and years. Yeah, Honda. Well, I think Honda has vehicles like that, but
my first car, Dad, was a Nissan Maxima. So
it was indeed, yes,
a 1996,
I think,
96 or 97.
I think it was great. Yeah, I think it was a 96. Yeah.
Still can't believe the day we took it to CarMax and they paid $1,000 for it. You and I are both like, okay, good, done, out of here, good.
Oh, and by the way, the rear deck spoilers in the trunk. Okay,
folks, if you're in the market to buy or sell a car, go to CarEdge.com. If you're looking to sell a car, go to CarEdge.com/sell. We have a question here. What is the cost of our concierge car buying service? That VIP white glove experience will cost you $999, but it is $100 off for the next 9 days or so between now and a few days into the new year. So if we can help you out with that service, gang, we are swamped at the moment, but in all the best ways. It's still fantastic to see all the positive reviews coming in from our community and how many of those people we've been able to help. I mean, it'll end up being this month, Dad, closer to 500 than we've ever got. I mean, it's wild, the number of people that we've been able to help. And kudos to the team for really rolling up their sleeves and working. Like this past weekend, I was watching it happen. We were deals getting done. So if we can help you out, folks, please give us the opportunity to. We've got so much more back on the website as well in terms of research, etc. Dan, let's call it a show. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be off on Christmas Day, so you won't see us on Wednesday, but then we'll be back with all sorts of fury and fight on Thursday, the day after.
Together, we'll be together at the office in D.C.
We will
before
indeed.
I catch a train back to the Jersey Shore.
We will indeed. So stay tuned for that. We're looking forward to it. And happy holidays. What a fun week. Hopefully you stay warm too.
Well, not in my apartment, but that's besides. But the new heater's ordered, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! The new HVAC system is ordered. And it should be in about 8 weeks. So what the heck?
We'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Love you, Dad.
Love you too, handsome. See you, everybody.